Welcome to Unapologetically Badass, the podcast for women over 40 who are done dimming their light. I'm your host, Renee Carbone Fleming, coach, queen, and master of the midlife glow up. Solo chats, epic guests, no filter. Let's freaking go. Hey, everyone. Welcome again to another fabulous episode of Unapologetically Badass. I am Renee Carbone Fleming, and I am so thrilled to have our next guest from Mike to main character, Bekah Berger, on saying yes to herself and building a life that fits. I am so happy to have you on, Bekah. Thank you for joining us.
From Mike to main character is a line that I will take with me forever. Thanks for having me on, Renee. I appreciate it.
Fantastic. So I want to just let everyone know we met through I always call it stranger danger whenever I meet people through social media, because we teach our kids like stranger danger. And here's me on social media. I'm like, hey, girl.
No, it's through DMs.
It's DMs.
I mean, these days, that's kind of how a lot of us connect, right?
I mean, it's fantastic. Yes. But I've been following you and was following you on TikTok and following your Real Talk Roadie podcast. So why don't you tell us what you do? Yeah, I see the sign. For those of us that are not watching this on video, she's got a great sign behind her. She's in the studio. So Bekah, why don't you tell people who you are, what you do?
Sure. Thank you by the way, for finding me on TikTok. TikTok, just as a side note, before I jump into all things me for a few minutes, TikTok was something I had and still sometimes have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with. Working in radio, we are, I don't want to say told, but it's suggested that, we join every social media channel these days as much as we can. So before the pandemic is really when TikTok took off, and then the pandemic, I mean, that was it, lights out. TikTok was huge. So I just had such a love-hate relationship with it. Right now, I'm in a love relationship with it. I'm finding my way with it. I am much more of an Instagram girly. So I'm just happy that we were able to connect through TikTok. And that bodes well that's a good thing for me in TikTok. That's a green flag for me. So this is good that this worked out. So yes, every morning from 6 to 10, I am on 92 Pro FM mornings. I am a morning show co-host. My co-hosts are Kim Zandi, the legend, who's been on the air here in Rhode Island now for almost 25 years plus. And then our other co-host is Jay Buff. And in terms of topics, we talk about pop culture, all the lifestyle topics of the day, music, obviously, because we are today's hit music. And so that's what we talk about on the daily. And then I also do middays for Q105 in New London, Connecticut. And no, I don't drive to New London. I am a typical Rhode Islander. Even if it's in New London, Connecticut, I'm still not driving to and from every day. So I get to do that sort of in our studio here in East Providence, which is radio magic. Wow. And then if you can't beat them, join them. These days, a lot of people decide to have a podcast. And so I've always entertained the idea of my own podcast. I did do sort of a recap podcast several years ago when the show This Is Us was airing on NBC. And I did that with my coworkers here, Heather Gersten from Light 105 and Kim Zandi. And we had a lot of fun with that. So in terms of that's sort of where I'm at right now. I'm at times with the Rhode show, doing some recaps. We're going to be doing a Grammys recap on Monday with them after the Grammys air. And every now and again, you'll catch me on TMZ Live. I do a once a month sort of hit with them on all things pop culture.
Wow. I mean, okay. So when do you sleep?
Oh, okay. So I'm also a mom. I have two little girls. I have two daughters, and they're 4 and 6 years old. So my day is sort of broken up in two pieces, right? It's like I'm Hannah Montana, Miley Cyrus or something, like two lives. Yep. I have, obviously a lot of parents do this. You have your one half of the day, and then I'm right into like mother mode right after that. And then when do I sleep? After I watch my shows. And the worst part about me, Renee, like a red flag about me, is that I'm a night owl and also an early bird. So, and as I do get older, it doesn't really bode well for me. So I am learning and leaning into going to bed a little bit earlier and being a little bit more responsible.
That's so good. See, I'm not. And I even say, like, I totally own it. I am a late person. I'm a night person. And I
Yeah.
am not a morning person by any stretch of the imagination. So much so that I literally have a Keurig next to my bed.
Ah, that's a fun topic. Like the most random things that you have next to your bed. That I think that it would be hard to top.
You know what? I mean, it's perfect. I drink black coffee. So I literally wake up, I roll over, press brew, and I am spoiled every morning with coffee in bed. Yeah.
You are a badass if you're drinking black coffee every day. I
I
don't know how you do it. You don't like your candy tasting like coffee. I mean, candy. Your coffee
Yeah.
tasting like
No, exactly. And it's totally high test. Like I do the Cafe Bustelo K-Cups. I am, oh yeah, give me full high test, plug it in, plug me in, and I'm ready to go.
you're ready to roll.
Yes, yes. That's how you get to the unapologetically badass for sure.
Right. The black coffee.
Yeah. How did your journey get you to radio? Was that
Where I'm
something
at.
you always wanted to do?
So I grew up here in Rhode Island and I am a millennial. So I grew up in Cranston and I did the Bolts Broadcasting Corps at Cranston High School East.
I went to Cranston East.
Stop it. Oh my
I mean, obviously I'm much older than you. But
honestly, probably not that much. Go Thunderbolts. I
go
love
Thunderbolts. That's so funny. No, I graduated 87.
I'm trying to think back to like relatives because we're going to do the Cranston game for a sec. You know what? We'll take that offline. I will do a little bit of, I'll have to do a little digging to see what relatives and friends of the family are late 80s Thunderbolts. But yeah, so I would go home every day after school. I would watch Total Request Live on MTV. Carson Daly hosted it. He's now on the Today Show. And I was just captivated by the music and the pop culture of it all. And I mean, I had a really well-rounded group of friends who were they talked about being teachers and they talked about being social workers and nurses. And I said, well, I just want to talk about movies and TV and stuff. Like I really kind of stuck out a little bit. And so I kind of was like, well, how do and earlier on, even before that, my family's really, well, my dad especially, he's a big sports guy. He loves all of his Boston sports. And him and I would, every morning we'd watch Nesson together. And I'd look at the females doing the commentary and he said, you could do that one day. And I said, yes, I can. And so it was always like the delusion put in by my parents that was kind of like, yeah, like I never thought I couldn't do it.
I love that.
Yeah. So I did, graduated Cranston East, did 1 year at CCRI where I did my first radio internship. Then I went to URI and studied journalism and then did another radio internship here in this very building where I'm talking to you right now. And that was in like 2006. And then I graduated URI in 2007. It was literally, I walked across that stage down in Kingston and walked right into this building because they needed, at the time, so I was coming off an internship, the general manager needed an assistant like just for the summer because her assistant, an executive assistant, was going on maternity leave. And I said, okay, like I needed a job. It was like Obamacare or whatever. I needed to get off my parents' insurance. So I said, yeah, I need a job. And honestly, I then worked at WPR. If I'm talking way too much, it's just, this is the journey.
I love this.
This is the journey. So I worked at WPRO, our news talk station. So at the time, Buddy Cianci was getting out. He was coming back from being away. And so he had his own talk show on PRO. They needed a call screener. My temp job was up down the hall. They said, hey, my whole thing, and what I always tell people when I have to speak to classes or if I have to do talks about the industry, I always say, just say yes to ethical things. Just say yes. It doesn't matter what it is. Just say yes. And then just think about it later. Again, as long as it's ethical.
Yes.
So
because it's like, what is the worst thing that's going to happen? What's the worst thing? It's like, okay, so I fail, I flubber, whatever.
I move on. So I was with PRO for 5 years and they put me on weekends doing an entertainment show for an hour, which is sort of like a very early version of Real Talk Roadie. Now that I look back on it, that was sort of the origin story. I produced for Gene Valicenti when he first got his radio show on. I was their promotions director. I was, like you were just saying before we got on the podcast, Renee, I was just like slash this, slash that, doing this, doing that. I wanted to be on the air, full time rather than just the weekends. Our sister station at the time, Hot 106, was hiring a midday personality. I walked into that office, different program director than what I had. I said, I'd love to do middays for Hot 106. And they were like, well, that's an interesting leap from news talk to hip hop, R&B, rhythmic. And I said, yeah, I'm into it. So I did middays there. I did mornings there at Hot for 7 years. And then in 2023, they moved me from Hot 106 to Pro FM to do mornings. So that's the journey. What's so ironic, or I don't know, what's unusual, I guess, in radio or in broadcasting these days is a lot of people move around. They have to go to smaller markets to get to the bigger markets. And I just have always been able to stay in this one building, working for 3 different radio stations, but I've been able to stay in the building, listen, and working for the stations that I grew up listening to, which has been the most thrilling part of it. I mean, Pro FM, it's so crazy. I tell the story a lot. Okay. When I was a junior at Cranston East and we were sitting around talking about what we want to do. I said, well, I want to work on the radio. And they were like, well, like Howard Stern. And I said, no, like Kim Zandy. And it's so funny because now her and I are co-hosts. So It's like, it was always meant to be. And all of us that work at Pro FM, by the way, we all grew up in Rhode Island and we all have a lot of passion for Pro FM and we all still can't believe that we get to do this.
That's fantastic. See, you were manifesting before you even knew you were manifesting, right?
Yes, yeah. I was. I was just trying to put it out there. But yeah, like before there was a word.
Right.
Yes, right. I guess you're right.
You were putting it out there. I wrote a book and it's Unapologetically Badass, but it shares those journeys. And when you look back going, oh my God, when I was a kid and I made my little nameplate with my name because I knew I was going to be, working in office and be a CEO and I was going to be someone. And then, years later, when you think of that, going, oh my God, those moments, I didn't know, but I was setting my future self up. So
I'm a big believer in that. I truly think that there might be something to that. And you know what? If this whole thing didn't work, then it wasn't going to work and it wasn't meant to be. But I truly believe that it all everything happened for a reason. And time, I have to say this, there is a talent component to it, but it really was about timing. It was about, oh, that person has to go on maternity leave. Oh, that person's leaving. Oh, that person can't do it. Can you? So it really was like all about timing and being at the right place at the right time.
Yes, but preparation and timing is really like you were prepared for it. It wasn't just, oh, we're going to give it to Bekah Berger. Oh, no. You want another body. You prepared for it.
Oh, yeah. They can sniff phoniness from a mile away.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so can the audience. That you wouldn't last there if the audience was like, oh, she is not authentic by any means.
Yeah.
And that's why also with social, you're succeeding on social is because, women, especially women, but we recognize when people are authentic. And then you get to like them, know them a little bit online, right? And that's what leads to them following and watching and
Yeah, and I also think that I had a really good foundation, especially at WPRO, because the news talk station. I say that because, my goodness, talk about having to have a thick skin. Working with those very big personalities, it was still at the time that they still work here, but Matt Allen, Dan York, Buddy Cianci, Gene Valicenti, Tara Granahan, who's amazing. I mean, these are some big names, but the audience, they can sniff a phony from a mile away. And so I was sort of able to get that thick skin, even as somebody in their early 20s. And that sort of followed me as I went on. And that's in working in media, really, of any genre, you have to be willing to take on the criticism.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any criticism I get online, I'm like, oh, you're helping my algorithm. Keep going.
Keep it going. It's pushing me out more.
Yep. Troll away. But you've had such a great journey, but what there had to have been moments that you were like, what am I doing? Or things that didn't work out, right? I mean,
Oh,
not everyone's journey is, oh, perfect. You want to share
no.
any of those?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we've had so many trial and errors through the years here in radio because we've had to constantly, and this isn't unique because I know everybody's had to do this. We've had to change our course so many times to keep up with everyone. I mean, when I first started, it was keeping up with, oh, well, there's a threat of iTunes, and then it's a threat of streaming, and then it's a threat of podcasts and TikTok and Instagram. And so, there's been so many times, especially when I worked at Hot 106, we were able to do a lot of trials and some things just didn't work, whether it was a bit that we did on air or something online that didn't really hit the way we thought it was. And it's just because some people weren't ready for it yet. I'll give you an example. When I worked at Hot 106, we did something called like pizza tours, or we would just go, we would pick a particular food if it was like National Pizza Week or National Burger Week, and we would go to different places and go on camera and be like, oh, this burger's so great. Here I am at Stanley's. Oh, this pizza is so delicious. Here I am at Pies. Just giving you some examples. That was really an early iteration of food influencing. And I wish that we stuck with that and weren't like, oh, well, it's too much work, because literally just a few years later, that's going to become one of the biggest genres on social media. There's that. So people, in Rhode Island and in Southern New England might remember this. When I moved from Hot 106 to Pro FM, the timing was interesting because Kim Zandi, unfortunately, something happened where she was no longer on Pro FM. 6 weeks later, or whatever it was, it's announced, oh, Bekah's moving from Hot to Pro FM. And while it was such a sad, sad time because we all love Kim Zandi, I just told you a little while ago, she is an idol of mine, a mentor of mine. Obviously, people were really heavily supporting her, and I was sort of made to be the villain in a way. And when it really wasn't, if those people in the comment sections knew, that wasn't the story. But that's what happens sometimes, especially with women. We get pit against each other or put against each other. So that wasn't too much fun when that was happening. But it made me stronger. I learned from it. I knew that if I need to win people over, like we were just talking about, I just have to be myself and not try to be somebody else. And then at the time, Giovanni retires. And so then it's Jay and I for a couple months. And that's when we tried some different things. Didn't always work. Kim comes back. So like, there's a lot that public perception wise probably looked a little funny to people going on behind the scenes. It didn't feel so great because there was a lot of sort of listener whiplash here and there, but you know what? It all worked out in the end.
Good. What are some of the things that you find that people are surprised to know or learn about you or about the business?
Sure. That it's so easy. Like, like people, it's so funny. So we'll have guests in, and whether they're from, like, maybe there's some fabulous clients that are coming in and they're so chatty and we have such a great time. And then they come on the mic and it's like,
freeze.
And it's true. And I'm sure you've learned this too from doing the podcast. Like, it isn't art. It's not as easy as it looks. And also, people think working in this industry is all glam and it's all artists and celebrities and it's so exciting. And we do have moments like that, but for the most part, it is a lot of work. And it doesn't look like or sound like it is, but there's a lot of planning that goes into the morning show. It goes into the podcast. It goes into planning out our social media posts. It takes a lot of brain power. Yeah. And I always say the hardest part of my job, honestly, it sounds silly, it's waking up. Waking up, because I'm up at 4:45, and that might not sound like too early for some, but it's having me. You got the Keurig right next to your bed. But just like turning on, like having to like be on at that hour it's difficult, but that's the thing, like you find it within you and you just let it flow. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but most of the time it does.
Well, and the thing is too, is you're passionate about it and you
Yeah,
love what you do. And that's why it
love
comes
it.
across. So yeah, are there, hard times? Is it a lot of work? Is it, early morning, sometimes late
Yeah.
nights and doing
Late
all of
nights,
that
early
sort of
mornings.
thing?
Yep.
It's so worth it because you're like, I get to do this. This is
Yes.
so fun. And you're living out what you wanted to do back when you were a kid. So
Oh, yeah. So
that's
true.
bravo. Bravo. Speaking of bravo,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So you've been on Bravo TV and Watch What Happens Live, right? So you and I, we
Yeah.
both have that in common that, I mean, you do Real Talk Roadie, and I want to get into your podcast,
Yeah.
but you love also, Real Housewives and fun, Bravo
Ah,
TV.
I love Bravo. I've been like a 20 plus year watcher of Bravo. Just I mean, the thing is with Watch What Happens Live a couple of years ago, there was this post that was like, "Oh, hey, like we're looking for Watch What Happens Live callers if that's something you're interested in." And so immediately I'm like, "Okay, let's do it." And so a couple months later, I think they contacted me and they must just like cycle through yearly because around the same time the following year they contacted and then around the same time just a few months ago they contacted, so they just must have a calendar of people. But yeah, there's something really, I know that some people might look down on those of us who love reality television and mess and drama, but I always use it as an escape. It's just I don't want to call it mindless because I don't want to take
No, right.
the editing and the content and the work that goes into it, but just being able to just sit down, turn my brain off because especially as women, we have 10 tabs open at all times. And so just to get like a little bit of rot for a second, like
Yeah.
it really does feel like such an escape.
Yeah. I mean, that's why soap operas were so big with, our older generations. They watched soaps during the day. And now
Yes.
we're watching that basically at night. It's really fun. I have a funny story. You're going to love this.
Yeah.
When you say about people like downplaying or like, oh, I can't believe she watches Real Housewives, right?
Oh,
So,
yes.
yeah. So I loved it. And my ex, I'm only going to say this, my ex at the time would kind of make fun of me for watching, oh, you want to be a Real Housewife. And I'm like, I don't want to be a Real Housewife. I just freaking love it. I
No.
think it's
Yeah.
hysterical. So years later, so watching it, that helped me build my business
Oh, I
because
love this.
there was a show on there, Game of Crowns. Do
Oh, yeah.
you okay?
Yes,
So
I had a few of those cast members in on Real Talk Roadie.
oh,
Susanna was in with me.
yes, okay. So I saw that on the show, and at the time, I had it was with Touchstone Crystal, and I was, exploding my jewelry business, and I was like, well, they would love what I have to offer. So I then just researched who were the directors. I contacted them. I started sponsoring their pageant. That led me to sponsor Miss America. Like throughout the years, I
Amazing.
sponsored so many. So I'm like, that moment of me being, a fan of Bravo
Yeah.
and, being ridiculed got me onto the Miss America stage, sponsoring Miss America, Miss Teen America.
Yeah,
So,
and you know what? It always makes me laugh when people poo-poo it because it's like, well, what do? You watch sports all the time, right?
right.
Okay, that's a reality show in itself. There's drama, there's
Yeah.
storylines. The people who watch wrestling, I got news for them. They're basically watching Real Housewives because it is the same vibe. There's a storyline, there's characters, there's foils, there's villains, there's people you
Yeah.
want to root for. It's the same kind of thing. So I love
Absolutely.
that you took this. Oh, you know what? I think this could be an opportunity. And
Yeah.
what's the worst that could happen? Like we said, oh, okay, I fail, I move on, and I can ask
Mhm.
somebody else. I'll find another show.
Quick crown check, Queen. If you're vibing with this episode, you're exactly the type of badass I built my empire for. Whether you're building your fuck it fund, launching your brand, craving a midlife reinvention, or just want to look and feel like a million freaking bucks, I've got you. From merch that speaks your truth to digital tools, coaching, and yes, even collagen that slaps. I serve the sass, the strategy, and the sparkle to help women over 40 take up space and cash checks doing what they love. head on over to reneecarbonefleming.com or tap the link in the show notes. Pick your flavor of badass and let's turn your midlife into your power era. Right, exactly. I'm like, this is all good. But yeah, no, I love it and I have been. Do you have a franchise that you love more than others? You have a favorite?
So because we are East Coast women,
One, two at the same time. One,
okay, 1,
two,
2, 3. New
three.
Jersey! Yes! Yeah, because you know why? When they first came on the scene, it's the sister-in-laws, it's the friends who have been friends forever. It, to me, was the most authentic and it was the most relatable. Because yeah, like OC is a lot of fun. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of blondes and there's nothing wrong with that. New York's a lot of fun. Again, a different kind of bougie. You could tell that that wasn't like an authentic friend group. And yes, that could be a criticism of so many of the cities these days, whatever. But Jersey, there was something so East Coast, Cranston, Johnston, North Providence about it. The furs, the leopard. I said, oh, these are my people. And I remember even saying back then, oh, if it can work in Jersey, it would work in Rhode Island. So yeah, Jersey's my favorite. If I'm ranking, I'm loving Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City really has hooked me the last few years specifically. Miami's always the sort of like the dark horse. Like I just feel like Miami doesn't really get the respect that it deserves. I love it. I know that it doesn't get the ratings it deserves. I didn't love the new New York.
I didn't either.
And it turns out no one else did either. And
I love Beverly Hills.
Oh, love Beverly Hills. Rachel Zoe is the best. I'm not going to say the best thing that's happened, but it's the best addition in a long time.
Yes. How do you feel about Amanda?
I don't feel much.
I don't either. I don't
Again,
either.
You know, it's
so far, how it's shown, how it's edited. So far,
and I almost feel like, is she being set up for people like us to say, oh, there's somebody I really don't like on that cast, and it's Amanda. I mean, I miss Garcelle. There's just something that I can't attach myself to with Amanda right now. And again, like you just said, like, watch as the show unfolds and maybe I will feel different. Love Boz.
I love Boz. But Amanda seems inauthentic.
Well, she just doesn't give housewife.
Yeah, well, and she's like, you know, and I bought the Chanel and I have this and I have that. Like she just name drops all the time. And then that phone call in the car to show her posturing. And I don't know, she definitely rubs me the wrong way.
Well, and you gotta get some episodes and some seasons under your belt before you can go off like that. Look at Lisa Barlow, right? Like she's allowed to say, I have a different life than the rest of you. I have this, I have that. Like she's gotten the clout. She's able to say that. If you're a first season housewife, that just means you're trying to prove something that might not be super real about you.
Yes, exactly. That's why, I mean, it's spotting the fakers.
Yeah.
And, you know, Rachel Zoe is very authentic. Boz is authentic, right?
Yeah. Rachel
Zoe is, I mean, she's, I don't even know what the word is.
Well, the thing with Rachel Zoe is I think she had already an advantage. A lot of us who watched Bravo a long time remember the Rachel Zoe project. There was years where we were like, what happened to Rachel Zoe? We miss her so much. So I think, you know, these days in entertainment, there's a lot of catering to nostalgia. And I think that just Rachel Zoe is one of those characters or personalities that people attach themselves to because it reminds them of 20 years ago or 15 years ago or whatever it was. So I think that she was going to be successful no matter what.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm sure that you're very excited for Real Housewives of Rhode Island to hit.
I am. I'm so excited about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Are they saying April? That's what I'm hearing.
You know, it's just one of those things where initially it was February because the casting agency put it out February. And then as soon as a couple of us posted that, they deleted that real quick. So hopefully that intern or whoever it was didn't get fired or anything. And then now they're throwing around April. And I mean, like that all signs could easily point to April. I think one of the producers said, "Oh, it's going to be such a great spring," or something like that. I forgot what the post said, but it was alluding to spring. So that would add up. I said on my podcast this week, I'm a little sad it's not April 1st, not because it's April Fool's Day, but because it's 401, and that would lend itself. But it's 402, and that's just as good. I love that it's Thursday nights. I think Thursday nights is a really great night for TV. And I'm glad that The Traitors is going to be over by then, because I love The Traitors on Peacock.
I
It's one of my
I
favorite
love
shows.
The Traitors. That is
Yeah.
so much fun to watch. Did you watch the UK version too?
No, I'm a newbie with Traitors.
Okay.
I just got on last season. And
Yeah.
it's so funny. Every time I say to somebody, "Oh, I watched The Traitors," they always follow up with, "Well, did you watch this version? Did you watch that version?" Because
Yeah.
it's just that good.
It really is. I've only watched the UK and the US, but I'm absolutely obsessed with
No,
it.
you're a committed fan. That just means you're a very committed fan if you're going outside of the US to watch The
I
Traitors.
know, right? Right? That's something. You know
That's
what?
serious.
It's such a cool it's a cool show. And anytime I've mentioned it to someone and they start watching it, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm hooked." And
Well, because it gives you mental gymnastics. Like,
yeah,
it, it's completely the opposite of some of the shows I was just talking about. Oh, I like to calm down. I like to turn my brain off. When I'm watching The Traitors, at least I'm thinking about something else other than work and parenting,
yeah,
because I'm thinking about, well, I guess this is what I would do. But if that person does this,
right.
like, it's just always a sequence of events. And that's why I love The Traitors. But I'm also happy it won't be on during April, because I
Right.
want it to be all about Real Housewives of Rhode Island.
Yes. Well, that's why when you said that Thursday night thing, I was just saying to Tony last night, I'm like, enough with all the shows coming out on Thursdays. I need something to watch Monday through Wednesday.
Hey, Renee, you know what's really scary? Did you say your boyfriend's name is Tony?
Yeah.
Yeah, my husband's name is Tony. So
It's
yeah, that's a
really
another parallel. Yes. And
another parallel universe.
my mom's name is Tony, and my father-in-law's name is Tony. So Thanksgiving is a nightmare because nobody knows who's talking to who.
My father's name is Tony, my brother's name is Tony, and Tony's son's name is Anthony.
Ah, it's too
I mean,
many
we're in Rhode
Tonys.
Island. We're in Rhode Island, so it's a ton of Tonys. Becca with
Yes.
a K and an H is rare. Renee is rare, but other than that, I'm surprised I'm not a Maria.
I know, we're surrounded by Tonys.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. What's next for you? Do you
Yeah,
have
you
something
know
else that you're like, well, before we go into what's next, why don't you tell us more about Real Talk Roadie?
Oh yeah, sure. Thank you. So Real Talk Roadie was sort of funny because I kept throwing this concept around. First of all, it's all about time management, right? I'm sure that this is something that you discuss sometimes and think about. For me, because obviously I have to factor family in at all time now. It's not just me, it's not just Tony, one of the many. It's our kids. And so when they're 4 and 6, so they are still needy. I'm not like, I can't leave them home. Like, I don't want DCYF coming after me. Like, they still very much need us. They still take on, it's a mental and physical load to raise kids. If you want to do it in a, I'm not saying a right way, but in a
Yeah.
way that would make you feel good.
In a present way. Yep.
And
You want to be a
yes.
present mom.
Yeah, I want to be present. And so it was hard to I knew I wanted to do a podcast. It was hard to find the time and sort of the niche because, again, like, there are a lot of podcasts and I wanted mine to be just a little bit different. So initially I wanted to do like a mom and pop culture podcast where we would talk about pop culture, but also parenting. And then it just didn't hit for me, mostly because I felt like a phony being like, oh, let's do a parenting podcast when there's so many of them out there that are going to be so much better than mine, because the parenting podcast people, they're all in on it. They spend a lot of time curating their Instagram grid. They spend a lot of time studying this stuff. Or maybe they don't. I have no idea. I just know I would have felt like a phony baloney if I'm trying to talk about parenting. So I decided as soon as we were getting the inkling that there was a reality show by Bravo being filmed in Rhode Island, because this is going back we're in 2026. I remember it was like May or June of 24 when a casting had gone out seeking Italian women, business professionals, entrepreneur. And so that's really when the gears started turning here. Like, all right, so there's going to be a huge, like the Game of Crowns,
Yeah.
vibes.
Yep.
Like, okay, we're going to have a big reality show that's female focused that's going to be filming here. So as soon as Real Housewives of Rhode Island, as soon as it turned into Real Housewives of Rhode Island, because for the longest time, we didn't know if it was a Real Housewives or not. And
Yeah.
I don't think the network did either, by the way. I think that they had other ideas, but then the women were just so amazing. And so were the storylines that they were like, we need to make this a Real Housewives. Anyway, when that got announced back in May of 25, myself and management, we said, you know what? Let's just go full throttle. The studio I'm in right now is actually the old Light 105 studio, fun fact, and Light has moved to a different floor. So engineering and management, to their credit, worked very hard to make Real Talk Roadie and some other podcasts within the building happen. And so on Real Talk Roadie, I gave you way too much backstory, but Real Talk Roadie, we just cover I've had some really great guests on. We started with, like I said, some of the Game of Crowns women. I had Wells Adams on, who was on The Traitors.
Yeah.
He was really fantastic. Some local influencers and some comedians. And so it's not just going to be about Real Housewives of Rhode Island, or is it? However, that's the main focus. Like, let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
But other, I've covered other reality shows and had some people outside of the reality genre on. So yeah, there's some layers to it, but for the most part, I'm going to be doing week to week recaps, having the cast members in. That's the other thing. Like, Bravo is still Bravo, and they still need to protect this cast. So as soon as they give me the green light to have our new favorite females in, I have, what's great about this is I have closer access than most people in this genre, which is a benefit and an advantage for me, and not something I ever could have imagined.
Yes, that's going to be really powerful to give you, like you said, having that access, week in and week out. Yeah, no, I think it was brilliant for you to come up with this idea and do it in the timing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're setting it up. You're setting your audience up for this. So you're warming everyone to this. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So much. I mean, I love interviewing people. I have just an innate curiosity of people anyway. So I'm excited that I get to apply some of those skills that I've honed through the years. And I'm thrilled. I mean, listen, it's more work and I get it. But again, it's all about, I gotta find that balance.
Yes. But again, it's, when you have these passions, and that's what I've, felt through the years. It's like, why not try it? I didn't before say I want to have a podcast. I didn't write a book to say I'm going to be a bestseller. You do the things that you're like, I am passionate about this. Might as well try it. If it works, and if it doesn't, all right, on to the next thing. It's all good.
Move on. Yep.
I love it. So where can people connect with you, watch your podcast, listen to it, let everyone know?
Yes. And thank you so much.
Yeah.
You can connect with me at Bekah Berger, Bekah Berger. That's on all platforms. That's on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Also follow 92 Pro FM. And then Real Talk Roadie does have its own handle, which is something else I have to work on, but can only have so many accounts to manage, right? And so yes, follow me there. And I know that people love LinkedIn. I'm really bad at it, but I check in at least once a week to connect, make sure that the network is networking, I guess. And so you can always connect with me on LinkedIn. Anytime, Renee, that I have to do some sort of talk with, maybe it's my alma mater, URI, and I have to sit down with students. And then they're like, well, what's your LinkedIn? And I'm like, oh, all right, we're going to do LinkedIn. That's fine. At Bekah Berger, connect with me there. So yeah, I'm very, DMs are always open.
I love it. I love it. I love this conversation. I'm so excited for you. I'm excited for the podcast, everything that you're doing. Everyone, please go follow Bekah. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you like and subscribe to this podcast. Go check out Bekah and share this with other friends. Let them know that Real Talk Roadie is going to be so much fun. Already is, and you're going to just absolutely love it. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you on the next Unapologetically Badass.
Thank you.
For today, Queen, but don't just walk away inspired, walk away activated. If this episode lit a fire under your fabulous ass, hit that follow button, leave a review, and share it with your fiercest ride or die. Your support helps this podcast reach even more women who are ready to reclaim their power. And hey, if you're ready to look, feel, and earn like $1 million freaking bucks, I've got an entire badass empire waiting for you. From confidence boosting merch to brand strategy, coaching, collagen, content, and everything in between, head on over to ReneeCarbonefleming.com or tap the link in the show notes. Pick your flavor of badass and let's turn midlife into your power era. Stay bold, stay unapologetic, and wear the damn crown.